season of Gumball has gotten even crazier. And we gotta talk about some of these moments here, starting with quite possibly one of the best episodes of the bunch.
I'm a phoenix, I'm a fire, watch me rise. Each challenge is another step to my prize. Check this, it's my checklist.
Yes, this is Nicole rapping for Career Day, and is it embarrassing? Yes, but that's what makes it great. By the way, Hulu has this as a new season. Other sources say it's the latter half of season 7. Honestly, it doesn't matter. It's new episodes, and this episode here is The Synthesis, and it's about how Anais and others want their mothers to stop trying so hard to impress them. Nicole would be told off by Anais and bawl in the bathroom, but she'd meet someone who understands her. Yes, this is another Nicole and Yuki episode, the first one being The Fury, considered to be one of the most popular episodes in the show, but also The Gourmet, which was a pretty good episode in the last season, or first half of the season. But when I tell you that they took this to the next level, I'm not joking. They realize they're better together than apart, so we get Nikoshita, an ultra-powerful mom whose insecurities about her daughter's approval are now 100 times worse. The action would only get even better because Anais and Masami would realize the only way they can get them to stop is to fuse together, and we get a crazy art style change.
Mom, you get your pride, but it's a little hurt. But we love you and appreciate everything you've done for us. Maybe you just need a hug.
If you're looking for comedy, action, great art, great music, a loving moral, one of the most in-demand dynamics since the hiatus, The Synthesis is really everything you didn't even know you needed. So if that's the wonderful part of the wonderfully weird world of Gumball, then what's the weird in this season? Well, there's a few good options, but let's go with the one that's already causing some debate. One of the weirdest episodes this season is about how a random woman starts putting labels on the students of Elmore Junior High, and how one character behaved is now etched into my brain forever.
She got Mr. Small sacked, and she labeled you as a bad kid.
It's straight up facts, though. I'm as bad as they come.
This episode is called The Labels, and Gumball goes through even more of a transformation than the video you just saw earlier. For more context, Mr. Small is being replaced by another counselor, Miss Coombs, and Darwin protests the concept of people acting how they were labeled. Unfortunately, Gumball supports the idea, even if his definition of bad wasn't the one intended by the counselor.
Sup, honey? Want to go bad places and do bad things to people?
He means we need your help to stop the labeling.
I paid Hulu for this. Am I a part of the problem? To be serious, I don't think it's anything to be outraged about, but there were people on some of the feeds that I look at who were either uncomfortable or upset with this depiction of Gumball, so this is one of the more polarizing episodes of the season. Now, was I asking for this? No, of course not. But outside of Pixar Mom Gumball, we get some good jokes around people exaggerating their labels and a pretty good story where Gumball finally listens to Darwin and takes everyone's label, combining it into himself to pretty much become everything, all at once.
You can't label us anymore.
Wait, I can't read it. What's it say?
Now, as explosive as that scene was, this season is the most aggressive and angry I've seen some of these morals be shown and some of these characters act, and you can get a good idea with this episode here.
Sorry, we're not hiring at the moment.
But it says help needed.
Yes, but it also says experience needed.
Then how does anyone get experience?
Well, what you could do is... Oh, Mr. Bilderberger. Hello, boss. Yes, of course your nephew can work here.
This season affirms what most people feel nowadays of being fed up with not having much of anything, yet seemingly giving away everything. In this episode, titled The Mister, Idaho starts sprouting, which means that he wants to live an adult life, and as you can tell, it goes horribly. He can't get a job, he gets scarred when watching an R-rated movie, he gets credit cards dumped on him because the banks love the debt. And even with these cards, he can't afford clothes, he can't afford a home. It's pretty obvious what this episode is trying to say.
Type. Yep, housing crisis still going on. Sorry, we don't have any.
What about those? They look empty.
Oh, those are luxury apartments for rich people, and I don't think that's you.
We also get a jab at how TVs add this ridiculous visual effect to try and smooth frames, but I think it's also a jab towards people who feel the need to take anything animated and force it to be 60 FPS if it originally wasn't, to make it more cinematic.
I guess it's pretty great. Wish me luck. Good luck.
This season also takes jabs at AI, NFTs, TV execs, the British Empire, the lack of action to preserve the environment, and so much more. Some episodes in this season handle their morals better than others, and it can be heavy to watch at times, but is it all heavy? Absolutely not. We get a big step forward in one of the biggest dynamics within the show. In the last season, as crazy as it was to see Carrie take over Gumball's body to kiss Darwin, that shock only works once. It would get pretty weird if they kept doing that, so how do they solve that? This episode is The Necroprancer, and it's another Darwin and Carrie episode that addresses that problem. In the beginning, Gumball lets Carrie use his body, but he ends up looking really rough, so something has to change. That's when we learn about the Necroprancer, a being of the underworld who can give any ghost a body of their own, which should make everyone happy, right?
Yeah, it does sound great. I mean, that's what we need.
Carrie is holding on to something that she's not telling anyone. They go through trials and tribulations down here in the underworld, and we get some awesome background designs. I love the running joke of the TV executives both wanting to cancel this show, but also taking the emotional moments of Darwin and Carrie to try to make a movie out of that. Gumball, despite being the obvious third wheel, is also a highlight in this episode. But what is Carrie hiding? We can see that once Darwin is moments away from casting the spell on Carrie.
I want you to be happy, but I don't think I should have to change myself for us to be together. I like being a ghost. I know it makes stuff difficult, but it's who I am.
Carrie, I'm sorry. I didn't know this is how you felt. I never meant to make you feel bad. And it's okay. I don't need you to change for us to be happy together.
Their way of figuring it out? Carrie possesses Darwin's body, so Gumball isn't needed anymore. Is this self-love? Is it not? I don't know. But what I do know is that we get a new dynamic in this chunk of episodes that honestly came out of nowhere.
Wilson is my best friend, but today he told me he loves me.
So this episode is called The Diary, and the real question is, who likes Wilson? And who even is Wilson, for those who don't know? Well, you first saw Wilson in the season 4 episode The Others, when he was upset that his close friend Claire was leaving Elmore. Gumball and Darwin start painting this picture of the scattered pages of Wilson Crush's diary that they found around this flooded area and locked door that's really important, and it's clear that this news was not taken the best way when Wilson's crush heard it.
Well, are you just gonna stand there?
I don't know what to say.
She's got away with words.
The awkwardness of telling a close friend that you want to be more than friends can be painful, and this episode showcases that with the two of the most dramatic characters in Elmore Junior High, Wilson and Claire, for those who don't know. Confusingly, it seems that Claire's boyfriend, at least according to the diary pages, is a real jerk who only keeps her around so that she can help him take photos of himself, or at least kept her around because now it seems like he's leaving her for someone else, tripping Anton in the process. And that's when Claire sees the personality that Wilson has.
Don't worry, man. Being made of paper, I get flattened all the time.
Unfortunately, the diary doesn't tell the ending of if Claire and Wilson get together, so what happens now? Well, Wilson can't bear to take the heartbreak of now being awkward with his best friend, so he's leaving Elmore and joining military school. He's outside, but Claire is inside. So Gumball and Darwin relay the news, but Claire didn't have a diary. It wasn't Claire the entire time. Whoever had this diary was clearly locked behind the bathroom door.
Hey, who's in there? Leslie?
Yes, Leslie, Penny's cousin, not only has a crush on Wilson, but by the end of the episode, they're pretty much officially together, so we get some nice rep, but I know what you're thinking. What about the main couple of the show, Gumball and Penny? Well, Penny goes through an even bigger transformation than the show, and there's a third person who's gonna make things messy here. So, what's the transformation? Throughout the show, Penny has been generally seen as calm and more mature than Gumball, which admittedly is a low bar. But with these latest pair of seasons, instead of Penny grounding Gumball in reality, Gumball might have been making Penny more unhinged like him. So this is the Promposal, and it's one of the few Gumball and Penny-centric episodes we've gotten in the wonderfully weird world of Gumball. After Gumball calls Carrie's way of asking Darwin to the prom lame, Penny feels the pressure to up the ante to satisfy him. It's a complete shift in their dynamic, as practically almost every episode up to this point has had Gumball trying to woo and impress Penny and her family, such as within The Night, where Gumball and Tobias fought over her honor, even though Penny doesn't like Tobias in that way, or maybe even at all. Now that's not just a random example, because in this episode, Tobias enacts his plan to ask Penny out. To be clear, to go to the prom, but it's still crazy because at this point, Gumball and Penny are already officially dating.
Yeah. Penny Fitzgerald, will you go to the prom with me?
Darwin tries to be the voice of reason and help Penny avoid the unnecessary pressure of trying to live up to Gumball's comically high standards, but for once, Penny's not gonna be mature. She's gonna sink down to Gumball's level. While I do like and prefer when Penny grounds Gumball, he needs that a lot, I would also agree that you probably should have characters shake things up from time to time so that you can get even more interesting episodes out of them. Unfortunately, Penny's tactics to create an even more spectacular prom proposal is just getting everyone hurt. It's sweet that she wants to impress Gumball, and she comes up with a plan that melts his face off. Literally. It involves a misunderstanding with the football team where she gets crushed and crushed and crushed, and when it seemed like Gumball lost his girlfriend, she returns in a blaze.
Will you please answer my most heartfelt call and be my date to prom, my dear Tobias?
That's crazy. Tobias did get away with flirting with another man's girl though. Huh, I guess rich people do get away with everything. While I did enjoy the twist of having Penny fight for Gumball's approval, there is another twist in this chunk of episodes involving Gumball that I don't care much about. Before we get to it, I want to say I enjoyed practically every episode of this season. The score, the roast, even the pants, which was also pretty weird. And even in this episode that I'm about to show you, there are things I like about it, but unfortunately, it's not an episode that appeals to me because of the twist.
No likes. No likes. Dude! She stopped following us!
On socials?
I'm not gonna say that Sarah is a bad character because she's actually really good at what she does, but I don't really care for her episodes outside of the shippening, where ironically it wasn't her creepily trying to force Gumball and Darwin into her fantasies. It was her trying to force everyone. It felt different to me, at least. And I don't really care for an episode where Gumball and Darwin tried to win her back over. I know it's a twist and it's at least unique in Sarah-centric episodes, but it still gives me the ick. I know it's a bad idea for them to try to win back over her stalkerish affection. They know it's a bad idea by the end of this episode, and it's a real tragedy that we get an impressive art and animation style shift in an episode that I probably wouldn't have went back to. For context, Gumball and Darwin tried to impress Sarah by raising their production value. It's great, it's a funny stylistic change, it's awesome, but it doesn't really save this episode for me. It also doesn't help that in every Sarah-centric episode, or at least almost every, she does get what she asks for, which gives me the ick. I don't mind one-sided romance dynamics in media, but in this case, I wish that they made Gumball and Darwin protest more openly to what Sarah wants. That would make it more enjoyable for me specifically. Now there's one big question left, and that revolves around the season's finale, the rewrite. We finally get a huge update on the Void, almost 6-7 years in the making. And I'll be talking about that in a future video, going over the entire Void timeline up to this point, because after connecting the dots, we have some crazy information on our hands. So if it's on the screen, please check it out.